Washington has accused Beijing of escalating regional tensions with recent military drills near the island of Taiwan.
China's military activities and rhetoric toward Taiwan and others in the region increase tensions unnecessarily. We urge Beijing to exercise restraint, cease its military pressure against Taiwan, and instead engage in meaningful dialogue. The United States supports peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and opposes unilateral changes to the status quo, including by force or coercion.
China considers Taiwan as part of its sovereign territory and has long spoken out against the U.S. meddling in the region. Chinese state media said the military conducted live fire drills in waters around the island. Recently, Beijing issued thinly veiled condemnation of Washington's plans to ramp up U.S. defense assistance to Taiwan.
These countries and institutions have turned a deaf ear to the Taiwan independence, separatist forces' attempts to seek independence through the use of force, and have ignored outside interference in China's internal affairs. Yet they point fingers, distort facts, and confuse right and wrong when China takes necessary actions to safeguard its national sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is highly hypocritical. China firmly opposes this and has lodged stern representations. The One China principle is a widely recognized consensus within the international community and a basic norm governing international relations.
Let's now cross live to regional expert Anna Malindog-Uy, Vice President of the Asian Century Philippine Strategic Studies Institute. Ms. Malindog-Uy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, China says the U.S. is actually the one escalating tensions with military supplies to Taiwan. What do you think about that?
I think as far as I'm concerned, I agree with that because Washington continued and large-scale arms sales to Taiwan are the real sources of tension in the Taiwan Strait and the tension between Taiwan, China, and the United States, among others. U.S. arms sales undermine the One China principle in practice, even if Washington is actually claiming that it adheres to One China policy, diplomatically speaking. By supplying advanced weapons, training, and sustainment, the U.S. treats Taiwan not just as, as an ordinary island, but even as it becomes a de facto security partner of the United States. It shifts the military status quo and signals support to a greater extent to the separatist elements in Taiwan. And also, so that's why when you talk about the current or the recent military exercises in the Taiwan Strait by Beijing or by the People's Liberation Army of China, in a way, it kind of responds and a signal to the external interference as far as Taiwan is concerned, given that Taiwan is actually an internal affairs of China, and it is part of China in all respects. So that's why there's such a thing and there's such an action coming from Beijing. And one thing that we have to remember, again, I re-emphasize that Taiwan is an internal affairs of China, and it has been accepted by more than 183 countries of the United Nations. So this is what is going on right now. Now, the question is, what is wrong with the U.S. position of Taiwan? It's not necessarily about deterrence, but it's about the growing incoherence and escalation risk. Washington maintains the language of strategic ambiguity and One China, while steadily shifting practice toward de facto security alignment with Taiwan. This erodes the credibility of ambiguity and convinces Beijing that the U.S. is changing the status quo while claiming not to. Most critically, the problem with the United States, it has no political, it really don't have a clear political endgame. It sometimes says that it rejects independence of Taiwan, it rejects the use of force in Taiwan, avoid negotiation, yet it arms Taiwan indefinitely. This open-ended militarized ambiguity heightens China's sense of urgency and increases the risk that deterrence slides into a provocation, turning Taiwan from a managed ambiguity into a potential flashpoint, which is actually, if you look at the Indo-Pacific region or the Asia-Pacific region, Taiwan really is a very critical and volatile flashpoint that many regional countries are very much anxious about and worried about what will happen in this volatile region of Asia-Pacific.
And Donald Trump has said that he was concerned about the Chinese military drills, but the State Department denounced them. What do you think about that inconsistency in the U.S. policy?
I think what the United States is doing is what you call bad cop and good cop. Trump really is trying its best. I mean, I think President Trump is trying its best to have good relation with President Xi after, since they had a very good talk after the APEC summit, which was last year. But on the other hand, some elements in the political establishment of the United States is also, doing its bad cop thing. I'm trying to interfere in the internal affairs of China over Taiwan Strait. So this is what you call a bad cop, good cop kind of thing that the United States has been doing, not only in Taiwan, but in many other countries, actually, that it has interest or it has strategic interest.
And China says that it must maintain and train its military by conducting drills, so in order to ensure its sovereignty. Now, why would the U.S. oppose that?
That's even the question. Why would the U.S. oppose that when, in fact, it's but established internationally speaking that Taiwan is a part of China, that there is only one China, and and the PRC is the government of all China. So this is something that it's a sovereign right of the Chinese government and even the People's Liberation Army to to train, to equip, and even to do military exercises in the area or territory that it's claimed it has sovereignty. So I don't think really that the United States has justification, even that legitimacy to oppose this.
Thank you so much for the details. We just heard from regional expert Anna Malindog-Uy and Vice President of the Asian Century Philippines Strategic Studies Institute.
Thank you.
A number of human rights groups have spoken out after Israel